If you're non-binary, polyamorous, or plural, you are actively part of a resistance movement against the dominant discourse. Okay, but what does any of that mean? Well, our society is built on stories. Some stories get more popular than others to the point that they are accepted as the unquestioned truth by a majority of the population. One of these popular stories is the story of the gender binary, the idea that there are exactly two genders, male and female, which all people can be cleanly divided into based on their assigned sex at birth. This story is what we call a dominant discourse. It's dominant because it's the most popular story told in our society. It's the mainstream belief. But for every dominant discourse, there are resistance movements called alternative narratives. These are stories different than the one that is mainstream, such as the idea that gender is a spectrum and that one's gender doesn't have to align with their sex assigned at birth. Being non binary means that you believe in a narrative that's an alternative to the one that is dominant, which makes you part of the resistance. Go you. And of course, there are lots of dominant discourses in all areas of life. They can be economic, they can be about core values, they can be about what is accepted as fact. You name it. If it's a story that explains something about society, it's a discourse. So being non-binary is an alternative narrative to the gender binary. But what about being polyamorous or plural? Well, being polyamorous challenges the dominant discourse of monogamy, which assumes that romantic relationships should be exclusive between two married partners. If you're polyamorous, you probably believe that relationships between more than two partners are also valid. This makes polyamory an alternative narrative. Meanwhile, being plural is a bit more complicated. The dominant discourse in our society is that each individual body has a single personality or mind, sometimes conceptualized in spiritual terms as a soul. Now, being plural usually isn't a choice, but the brain certainly is accommodating the reality that two different personalities can exist in a single body, usually as a response to trauma. This goes against our dominant discourse of what an individual is, and brings the common cultural idea of a soul into question. In that way, plurality is an alternative narrative, whether we fully understand the science behind it or not. So what do you think? Do you think being non-binary, polyamorous, or plural are all alternative narratives? And what other dominant discourses can you think of? Credit to Peter Moss and his book, Alternative Narratives in Early Childhood, for introducing me to the concept of dominant discourses, and Tumblr user Ace Trainer Alice for the post that inspired this video.